Hey everybody, welcome in the building, welcome in the building, okay people? Listen, we made it to Friday. It's Friday night, okay, trending topics, and we're in the building and we got a lot to talk about. If you hear what the diva, hold on, because this light is really shining in my face. I had to turn it a little bit. It was like blinding me, okay? If you're in the building, I appreciate y'all. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. I got a goal this year. I want this year to be finally the year that I hit 100K. But listen, you can help me out by hitting the like button and by subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. So in the meantime, people, we got a title for the night and it's called State of Emergency. Okay, we got Sha'Carri, the track star, who can't seem to stop getting arrested. She driving down the road at 100 miles per hour speed. And I said, you know what? She needs an intervention. But the problem is when people don't know they need an intervention, they can't get one. So her and her boyfriend, because they seem to be in a toxic relationship, like Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown were, he comes to the scene to save the day. If you know your girlfriend, your boo, got pulled over by the police, the cops, and you going to the scene, I don't know what you was going to do, but to do whatever it is you're going to do. You come to the scene and allegedly you have a substance stuff in your car. I mean, are you dumb, stupid, or both? But apparently they probably both engaged. That's why the both of them can't make a good decision. That's why the both of them probably, always in find themselves in toxic situations. It's a shame. But we're going to talk about those two. And they're young. And it's bad. And maybe they need to go to rehab. But we're also going to talk about Don Lemon. He got arrested. This conversation can go so many ways because there's so many angles to look at it. And God bless him for fighting the fight. I'm not that girl. I do not want to get handcuffed. I do not want to have to fight that fight, but I am one to fight for the cause. But I'm going to have to be that girl that be at home doing the paperwork while you got some other people that got boots on the ground. He got arrested for exercising his First Amendment right. But I'm going to get into a little bit more. I'm going to tell y'all my thoughts and my side of it. But I keep telling y'all, I don't know how many times I have to tell y'all this. We can't do what they do. And if we want to change it for it to be an equal playing ground, more of us are going to have to be involved and stand by the cause. But we'll talk about it. Then we got the IVF mix-up. See, let me tell y'all, when I worked in the hospital, first of all, no job I ever worked on did I play any games. But when I worked in the hospital, I upped my level of diligence. I took it all the way to the top. If I knew, and we did 12-hour shifts, and usually I told them, put my 3 days together, because if not, I just couldn't I couldn't seem to have a life. So I said, if you're going to put me on the schedule, do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's how I did my days. I did them together. I didn't like that choppy. If I was going to, have to go to bed, because you got to go to bed early when you got to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning to be to work at 7. I upped my level of diligence by working in the hospital. And so if you're working at an IVF clinic, first of all, you're working with a very vulnerable population. A couple who desires to be parents, but they're struggling with the fertility. So you are responsible for retrieving eggs and labeling it correctly, retrieving the sperm, making sure things get fertilized. And then the doctor, and one day they're gonna come back and place this fertilized egg back in the mother. And if you're the person responsible for getting the doctor's diva's egg and her husband's sperm, you better make sure you got it right and that the person labeled it correctly. The couple have their baby. It's a Caucasian couple. The baby comes out brown. They're like, who baby is this? They said they love the little girl. But they did DNA testing, and her husband ain't the father, she ain't the mother. So now they're wondering if their egg was implanted in somebody else and somebody else got their baby, and if the person who baby this really is going to come and get their baby. It's a hot, stinking mess. We're going to talk about it. Then, you know you got a real problem. A real whole problem when you being arrested for SA and with the handcuffs on and a whole bunch of police and other people leading you into the courtroom, out of the courtroom, whatever, and you got the female prosecutor, whatever, opening the door, and the inmate with the handcuffs on go ahead and try to smooshy wooshy the prosecutor's booty. He got it bad. He's like a high level mental case abuser. And in that case, they need to lock him up for real. And he needs some mental institution help. And maybe he needs to be on like 22 medications. Every moment he's awake, he needs to be popping a med in his mouth. Because when you got all of those witnesses in front of you, you got handcuffs on, and the urge in your mind is so bad that you still try to grab this woman's behind. I ain't never heard of no predator like that. Crazy work. That's why this is called state of emergency. Now I'm going to bring the people in the building, but before I do y'all see those lovely roses behind me? Let me bring it up to the forefront for a moment. It's called Rose Forever. Listen, people, Valentine's Day is coming up. If you got you a Valentine, I ain't mad at you. I'm happy for you. Okay, pray for the diva. Maybe one day I meet somebody nice and I have a Valentine's Day too. But in the meantime, people, for all of you out there, if you're looking for a nice floral arrangement for your loved one, there's this company that I'm partnered with called Rose Forever. Do you see that? Absolutely beautiful. If you go and purchase regular flowers, they may last you for 6 to 7 days, tops, and you spent a lot of money. Why do that? And you can have this Rose Forever arrangement, and you will get $20 off with the Diva code. The company is Rose Forever New York. I got the description in the video. I got the coupon in the description of this video, and you're gonna get $20 off. Click on the link that I gave you and get your discount, people. Rose Forever, absolutely gorgeous, and it comes in a nice velvet casing. You see that? You have it displayed there. Gorgeous. Click on it. Get your coupon. Get your roses. And have a good Valentine's Day. Okay, listen, people, y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Friday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title's called State of Emergency. We got Sha'Carri arrested again. We got Don Lemon arrested, out on with no bond, matter of fact. Okay, we got the IVF baby mix up, and we got the Grope harbor. Okay, let me bring the people in the building. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, in my opinion. Hey,
Hey,
Callie.
Diva. Choo choo.
Hey, Julius. All right,
Hey
people.
y'all, hit the like button for the divas.
Hit the like button. We're going to get right into it because we got a few stories to get through, okay? Let's do this Sha'Carri arrest first. It's embarrassing. It's sad. What a waste of her talent. What a waste of her endorsement. What a waste. But let me share a screen. I got so much going on here. Let's see.
Flashing them to get out of your way, are you? Let's give you a path to get past them. See what you do.
Just so you know, he's following her and he's talking to himself, but he's talking to her like, okay, let me, you follow me, let me give her a path and see what she does. So he's gonna end up pulling her over.
100, 101. Passing a car at 101, 103, 104. County motor 50, copy 1050. Gonna be 429 northbound at Stony Brook, Florida tag. On a gray Aston Martin and an occupants. I would wipe that smile off your face. I'm Sergeant McDaniels with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. You're being stopped for dangerous excessive speeding.
I understand my tire at the back is like literally on 29.
So you're driving at 100. Hold on. You're driving at 104 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour zone with subpar equipment, flashing people to get out of your lights, out of your way, following too close, using every lane to pass everybody, cutting me off, passing a car on the inside shoulder with their hazard lights on. You're going to jail for dangerous excessive speeding.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. My phone, I didn't even know my car was speeding.
That's why they give you a speedometer.
I totally understand. I communicate with you, sir. I really do not want to go to jail.
No, most people don't, but you got to think about that before you do the speed. I need your license, your registration, and your insurance. You were speeding.
Sir, I was, and I totally didn't know. If you look at my phone, my buttons right here, they jump around. My phone is sitting here and it's straight on here. I literally see it's not even in normal mode, and I see that. My apologies, sir. Please, I'm communicating.
The mode has nothing to do with your gas pedal.
No.
I need your license, your registration, and your insurance.
Please, sir, I really want to work. Can you really work with me, sir? I promise you, I am a law-abiding citizen. I have my ID, my insurance on my phone. There was no intention of me speeding today. I promise you, sir.
Is this a good address for you, Lake Valley Drive?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm local, sir. Please work with me. I promise you.
I don't know what work with you means.
Not work with me. I understand that. I will take the ticket. I will show the
No,
court.
like I told you, you're going to jail.
Please don't allow me to go to please, sir. Please.
Listen to me.
Please, sir. I really.
If nothing you say is going to change that. You are going to jail.
Sir, am I going to jail, Jake?
Yes.
Sir, I really was not intentionally speeding at
That's
all.
even more scary. That means that you're doing things unintentionally on a task that requires all your attention.
Sir, please, I'm begging you.
You're going to have a little bit of time to make some phone calls. You are going to jail. I am towing your car.
Please, sir, don't take me to jail. I will do everything.
No.
I will do everything.
You have two options.
Listen. My tire, everything. Sir, please.
Listen, you have two options.
Please, sir.
The first option is you can either ride with me in my car.
Damn, that's loud.
The second option is you are going to go to jail in a cage car.
No,
Which do you prefer?
Look, I promise you, I don't want to go to jail. I'm right here. I have a team here. I have a coach, everything, sir. I was not intentionally doing anything, and I am.
You're not listening. You're repeating yourself and not listening. Nothing you say is going to change.
So I want to.
So make some phone calls, let people know that you're going to have a $500 bond.
Now,
A Detroit judge
is that let me share screen again and go give a little more detail, because her boyfriend got locked up too. Let me see. Sha'Carri, what happened? Sha'Carri, go ahead.
The same girl that was whooping on her man, right? In the airport.
But listen, he came there to save her. Sha'Carri Richardson's Olympian boyfriend, Christian Coleman, also arrested during the speeding incident. Police allege they found drug paraphernalia inside Coleman's car after he arrived on the scene. What a hot stinking mess. Sha'Carri Richardson's boyfriend, fellow Olympian sprinter Christian Coleman, was also arrested on January 29th after the gold medalist was charged with excessive speeding. Coleman was interjecting himself and resisting when officers gave him orders, according to the affidavit. Officers also allegedly found drug paraphernalia inside Coleman's vehicle. Sha'Carri Richardson's boyfriend, fellow Olympian Christian Coleman, was arrested alongside the gold medalist on January the 29th, according to the arrest affidavit obtained by People. Coleman, 29, was arrested for allegedly resisting during Richardson's traffic stop in Winter Garden, Florida, and police allegedly found drug paraphernalia in his car, per the affidavit. Richardson's boyfriend, who defended her last August when she was arrested and charged with fourth-degree domestic violence assault after a verbal altercation with Coleman, allegedly arrived in his own vehicle at the scene shortly after she was pulled over for driving over 100 miles per hour and exited the car as officers were handling Richardson's paperwork. Police noted in the affidavit that Coleman failed to utilize his hazard lights despite being pulled over on the side of the highway, and said he was interjecting himself into the traffic stop that he was not involved with. When the reporting officer instructed Coleman to wait at his car, the track and field athlete allegedly dropped an object in the grass before he started defending Richardson in an attempt to keep her from going to jail. Coleman was allegedly told by the officer that he would be arrested if he didn't comply with the order to wait by his vehicle, per the affidavit. He continued to refuse to leave. At this point, I put my hand on the male's left bicep and directed him back towards his vehicle, which he started to comply with, the officer alleged. Police contacted a representative of Coleman for a comment. A rep for Richardson previously told People they do not have a comment at this time. A third Olympian, Tarisha Terry, who won gold with Richardson in the 2024 Paris Games, was also allegedly at the scene and was issued a citation for stopping on a limited access roadway, per the affidavit. What a hot, stinking mess. Coleman was placed in handcuffs and charged with resisting after he continued to refuse to identify himself, the affidavit said. And the sergeant later found a glass smoking device in the center console of his car that appeared to be previously used. Richardson was previously arrested at Seattle Tomica International Airport in July 2025 after an officer allegedly witnessed her push Coleman multiple times, according to USA Today. Citing the Seattle Police Department, Coleman refused to press charges and declined to be a victim, according to the New York Times. He described it days later as a sucky situation all around and said he didn't feel like she should have been arrested when questioned by reporters about the incident. Coleman said Richardson has things that she needs to work on for herself. Of course, added, I'm the type of guy who's in the business of extending grace and mercy and love. Richardson later issued a public apology to Coleman, writing, I love him and I can't apologize enough. My apologies should be just as loud as my actions, honestly louder. To Christian, I love you and I'm so sorry. It's a toxic, toxic relationship and very sad. Savannah, your thoughts?
This is one young lady that I think so many people who don't know her but respect her athletic ability, that we're all rooting for her, but she
Mhm.
just keeps making stupid mistake after stupid mistake, and it's quite evident with the people that she's hanging around with that she doesn't have any really good influencers or role models around her that can help her. And for just a few months, what was it, in 23, 24, when
Mhm.
she actually started listening to the critics and she got some mentorship from basketball legends and greats like Shaquille and Michael, like, for just that sliver of moment, Sha'Carri was doing good, and she wasn't. She was all that negativity and what they were trying to portray her in the media to be. She fought against all of that and she focused on her athletic ability versus all that other righteousness that was going on out there. I say she needs a wake up call. I don't know, 100 miles an hour in behind the steering wheel of a vehicle that can be considered a weapon. In Miami Gardens, where all of that, or Winter Gardens, where it is so inundated with cops, I'm and then and I'm wondering what area she was in, because there's some hot areas where you can go and get deliveries at night on the side. So I'm just trying to figure out what she was doing out there at that time of night. And then how many people are going to stop and interject themselves in a traffic stop when they see cops and they figure they're just going to interfere? And do they not think that they're also going to be now charged with something? So to me, this isn't just a story about Sha'Carri. It's actually her and her boyfriend that have some issues and need maybe rehab, some good mentorship. I think they should be banned from the sport for a while,
Mhm.
because they're problematic and they're not good role models. And it's just so sad that they don't see that the opportunities that are in front of them and how great they can be if they leave all this foolishness and hood ratchet crap
Mm.
behind. I'm so upset with her because that is one young lady I have been rooting for since I seen her on the field on that track. And it's just disappointment after disappointment. And I just really hope that Sha'Carri, before she gets too old and age out of her sport, because she can be a commentator, she can be, I mean, because she's beautiful, and it's not like, but unfortunately, she doesn't have anyone around her that can help lift her up. Um, so they definitely need some time, whether it's in rehab or a facility. But I don't, before something else tragic happens. And we're only in January, so we still have the whole rest of the year. I think we'll be back on this panel talking about another story with Sha'Carri and her boyfriend.
And it's a darn shame the way she was sitting there begging that cop. It was embarrassing. And I think when I saw the mug shot, I think it was not about tears, those red eyes. I think there was something else going on. And for the boyfriend to think it was okay to come to a scene where cops are there with paraphernalia in your car is crazy work. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So this whole story is crazy. The mere fact that she was recklessly dodging from lane to lane, flashing people, and going at speeds of 104. When he got to 104, I was like, are you serious? She was literally drag racing. God forbid something had happened and she need to get on those brakes. How many lives she could have took? The mere fact that the boyfriend came there and thought he was gonna raise up on the police officer is even worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's already going to jail. You coming to go to jail? Okay, fool. They got a cell for you too. I really think these people think because they are what they call celebrities, athletes, whatever, this makes them exempt from following the laws. She's not stupid. Clearly, you knew you was doing the speed you was doing because your car runs differently when you start going over 80 miles per hour. So I'm not buying that she didn't know. Yeah, you knew. You just didn't care. And now this police officer doesn't care about your excuses, and neither does I. So she got what she got. She went out there and she decided she was going to drag race on the highway and rigmarole all the way around the highway. Now she got locked up. I hope you had a fun time in jail, okay? And I hope they add some more fines to her car so it'll blow that thing on up and maybe she'll learn her lesson. But I'm pretty sure she won't because this is the ignorance that she brings to us.
Oh, jeez. Julius, your thoughts?
It's time for her to have a timeout. She did that in front of an officer. A sheriff's deputy at that. And he was counting her speed. She needs a timeout.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Can y'all hear me?
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear Julius too.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I don't hear Julius.
Yeah.
He's very low.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. How about now?
Okay, better.
Okay. I feel that she needs a timeout. It's time for that. And, a reset, a radical reset before she crashes and burns. Because she is on her way there. And she's lucky she didn't injure anybody.
Thank you. Callie, your thoughts?
Okay, so I've been sort of like working today and I've been trying to keep up with this story. From my understanding, she was speeding, but she was not intoxicated. Is that true?
Well, they didn't say anything about intoxication.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm saying from my understanding.
Yeah.
If you actually go to the post of this story, there are so many people in the comments saying that they got pulled over going over 100 and they just got a ticket. I have been in the car with somebody that got pulled over going around like 98. He just got a ticket and he had a warrant. I'm not saying she didn't do anything wrong, but what I'm saying is there's people that do this all the time and they just get a ticket. At the most, they get their car towed. So I don't really know Florida like that, but some of the things that we've heard about Florida, I think that we need to start knowing where we are. I'm in Florida. This ain't really like the place for me. I got to make sure that, I kind of tiptoe a little bit here because I don't want these clear folks taking me to jail for anything. I'm not going to give them any reason to take me to jail because I know where I am. And unfortunately, we can't do what everybody else do. Now, it was even some men, black men, that have in the comments, like, I got pulled over. I just got a ticket. I was doing the same. I was doing faster. I was doing 120. I got a ticket. But I think you have to look at where she was. And I'm sorry. I think he did go a little bit harder on her than if this would have happened somewhere else. Now, I don't know, maybe in this particular area that's just the procedure of what they do. Or maybe it was something more. I have no idea, but I do know that I personally know, and I saw all over the comments, that people get pulled over for doing this all the time. Now, it's wrong, it's dangerous. I understand. She could have hurt someone. But this is not something that people typically get arrested for. And then, as far as the boyfriend, well, weed is legal here in California. So that's what I'm saying. You have to know where you are. And when you're in places where it ain't too friendly of, whatever it is that you do or what you look like or whatever, you got to know where you are, and you can't do what they do, or you can't do this there. I feel bad she went to jail. She probably thought, she knew she was speeding a little bit, but she may have not known that she was going 100. She might have thought, okay, it's speed limit is 65, maybe I'm going 80. I just kind of felt
let me
bad that
ask
she went
you
to
this:
jail.
can you get arrested for reckless driving?
I'm gonna be honest. I have not. You have to do something like really like egregious to be arrested for reckless driving. Like, and it's not just me saying this. It was all over the comments of this post of
Yeah,
people saying, I got pulled over. I just got a ticket. This is a speeding ticket. Like, why was she arrested?
Well, I think she was cutting people off. She was flashing people. She was doing aggressive driving. So in aggressive driving, the way she was, because like he said, he was clocking her for a minute. He was like, okay, 100, okay, 102. Okay, let me see what you're gonna do. She cut him off. She was flashing people to move out her way. So she was doing some reckless driving. I'm just going by her eyes, but it could have been because she was crying. She looked like she could have been a little, I'll say, different to me, like she was doing
But
something.
also, this is a toxic relationship. The two of them probably got in a fight, and she was trying to get away from him. And then he felt bad that she was going to jail, and he tried to intervene and made the situation worse. This is why you cannot be in a toxic relationship. Things like this will happen. That's just my theory. I'm pretty sure, given the history of this couple, that that's what was going on.
Oh, it is probably so. But see, then to your point, here's the problem with that. When Brandy, the singer, she ended up unaliving somebody.
Yeah.
Because she had a fight with the boyfriend. She left. It was reckless driving. And then the person was dead. So if we go by that theory on that note, thank God the cop took her off the road and arrested her. Listen,
I'm very surprised Brandy didn't go to jail because
I'm shocked too.
Yeah, no, because that area, that traffic clog is always there. So it's not like, oh, traffic just randomly backed up on me. No, you know that traffic's always there like that. So I was she had a good lawyer. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, she needs to be on her P's and Q's. That's why she was trying to beg to not get arrested, but that cop wasn't having it. You could tell he wasn't having it because as soon as he came up to the car, he said, "Take that smile off your face." But like you said, you need to know where you're at. I'm gonna go ahead and roll into this next story. The next story is which one do I want to do next? I'm gonna do this baby mix-up, which is very sad. Let's do that one. Let's go into the baby mix-up.
Clients are falling more and more in love with their baby every day.
For the first time since a Central Florida couple filed a lawsuit against this IVF clinic in Longwood, we're not only hearing from their attorneys, but we're seeing the newborn baby girl who the couple says is not biologically theirs.
I just want to be able to ascertain what more they can be doing to ensure that all parties who will fall in love with this baby know of her existence and to be able to secure their embryos that they stored with the defendant.
These court documents show the baby girl was born in December through IVF, thanks to the Fertility Center of Orlando. The couple, who was white, soon realized the baby is not, and genetic testing revealed their baby girl isn't theirs. The couple is begging for answers from the clinic and Dr. Milton McNichol, who they say implanted the embryo.
So that we can find and secure the remaining embryo or embryos, and so that we can notify the genetic parents of Shay of her existence.
During a virtual emergency hearing on Wednesday, the couple's attorney laid out 7 requests, including getting the clinic to pay for genetic testing of any child born under the clinic's care in the past 5 years.
We're trying to both identify who got the patient's embryos, as well as we're trying to identify what set of parents did Shay's embryo come from.
Attorneys for the doctor and this clinic agreed to those list of terms. The couple is expected to file another motion soon. Covering Seminole County and Longwood, Christina Watkins, WESH 2 News.
Not you carried and delivered a baby that's not even yours, and that wasn't your plan. Just a whole hot stinking mess. Let me share screen again, 1 second. So shocked parents sued the IVF clinic over heartbreaking error after the birth of a baby girl. A Florida family is suing an IVF clinic after they given birth to a baby who doesn't share either of their genetics. Real estate agent Tiffany Score and her partner Stephen Mills were left shocked and looking for answers once they were handed the girl in the hospital. They filed a lawsuit against the IVF Life Inc., which operates as Fertility Central of Orlando. The lawsuit states, while both parents are racially Caucasian, baby doe displayed the physical appearance of a racially non-Caucasian child. After genetic testing, it was confirmed the child was not theirs, according to a family spokesperson. They said an investigation into the heartbreaking in vitro fertilization error described in our recently filed lawsuit is ongoing. Now the family faces the terrifying prospect that their baby could be taken away by the true parents at any moment. Speaking to News 6 on Thursday, the couple said, "We love our little girl, and if possible, we will hope to be able to continue to raise her ourselves with confidence that she won't be taken away from us." But they said they have a moral obligation to find and notify the baby's biological parents, so they were given the option to raise her on their own. The pair hired IVF Life to help them have a child about 5 years ago using the in vitro fertilization IVF and became pregnant in April. The process involved a woman's eggs and a man's sperm being fertilized outside of her body. These embryos are then frozen until the parents decide to have them implanted in the woman. But after Score gave birth, it became clear that the IVF Life had made a shocking error. The couple filed a lawsuit on January 22nd after allegedly trying to contact the clinic multiple times with no response. One of the couple's lawyers, Jack Scarollo, told the Orlando Sentinel they have fallen in love with this child. They would be thrilled in the knowledge that they could raise the child, but their concern is that this is someone else's child, and someone could show up at any time and claim the baby and take the baby away from them. In another traumatic twist, the pair are afraid one of their 3 fertilized eggs they froze at the clinic may have been mistakenly given to someone else. Despite a lack of help or cooperation from the clinic, the parents said they hope to find their own genetic child soon. Now, this just tells you how IVF works. In vitro fertilization is a common fertility treatment used to help families get pregnant. A full cycle of IVF takes around 3 to 6 weeks to complete. An injection or nasal spray stops your ovaries producing eggs naturally. Once your eggs are no longer producing eggs, you inject yourself every day for 2 weeks with medicine that increases your egg supply. A doctor at the clinic collects your eggs. Eggs are fertilized with sperm in a lab, and the embryo is placed in the woman's womb. A pregnancy test is taken 16 days after the embryo transfer. If healthy embryos are left over, they can be frozen for future IVF attempts. They have demanded to see records from the clinic to find out what happened, and they want IVF Life to pay for genetic testing of every child born with support of the company in the last year. The couple said, based upon leads discovered to date, and despite the lack of help or cooperation from the clinic, there is hope that we will be able to introduce our daughter to our genetic parents and find our own genetic child soon. A family spokesperson said an investigation is ongoing into the baffling situation. The lawsuit names IVF Life LLC and Dr. Milton McNichol, who runs the clinic, the Orlando Sentinel reported. The Fertility Center of Orlando reportedly stated it was cooperating with an investigation to support one of our parents in determining the source of an error that resulted in the birth of a child who is not genetically related to them. The notice was removed from the website at the hearing for the case on Wednesday. Score and Mills asked for privacy in pursuing their goals. They said if and when these goals are achieved, or if continued privacy becomes an obstacle to correcting the terrible errors that place us in our current position, we will advise the media and again reach out for continued support. What a hot stinking mess. Savannah, your thoughts?
My oh my, this is a 1980s Lifetime Saturday night movie special of the week type of case. We have seen these cases like this before. And it's unfortunate that here with all this technology, with AI, that these clinics are still making these stupid mistakes where usually it's human error that causes these types of mistakes. Now legally, if I can recall that story that was on Lifetime, these parents are going to have to go to the courts and see if they have any legal parental rights on this child, or if the biological mom has the legal rights. I can recall in that movie where the very almost the same situation, where the parents didn't want to give up the wrong child, and I'm gonna say that in quotes, but still wanted custody of their biological child, which the other family had bonded with and raised as well. So they're gonna, and I'm assuming that they have or are bonding with this baby. She's an absolute cutie. So I wouldn't understand, it's it is so sad. But they're gonna have to grapple with, if you find the biological parent of this child, you're going to have to more than likely give this baby up. But then they have to seek their own child, and who has their child and what kind of situation are they living in. I honestly, I don't know anyone who has gone through IVF, but those, and I don't know how transparent these clinics are when they are faced with these cases, but I think there's a lot of accountability that this clinic has to do, both ethically and morally, whether it's a record keeping system, or it's something that they're genetic testing before they do these implants, or because these things are becoming too common. And with all this technology that we have here available to us now, these clinics should not be making those types of mistakes. So, and I agree with them that every in vitro that they have done, they should go back and test them. Is this, are they the correct parents? Because this is sloppy human error. And but those parents too also had an obligation before they bonded with this baby. They should have, because it's obvious that we're in the delivery room, and someone brings me a different looking baby than my husband and myself. We got a lot of talking to do. There's some explaining that's got to happen somewhere, somehow. So I hope that they get a positive outcome, but they're going to have to be willing to either give up the child or give up the fight for looking for their child, which is hard to ask any parent to do.
Absolutely. Julius, your thoughts?
This story is a tough one. And because I feel like it's a lose-lose situation.
Mm.
They lost their bio child, no fault of their own.
Mm-hmm.
But they have bonded and fallen in love with this cutie patootie, cutie pie. And it's a 110% possibility that they could lose her. All because of this company that they put their trust in with their health. And they thought they were doing the right thing by these people, but in reality, they were not. And so these people are in a lose-lose situation. Now, I hope that they could raise that cute little baby. But I understand if they want to have the biological parents take custody. My heart just breaks for them.
Yeah, thank you. Kelly, your thoughts?
Okay, this first of all, I don't understand why it's so hard to find this child's biological parents. Don't they know who their clients are? Like this stuff costs a whole lot of money, and I'm pretty sure whoever is going to this clinic is somebody that is financially well off. This is not, I mean, typically poor people are not doing this. It's very expensive. But
I've known people that emptied out 401ks and they wasn't rich, but they wanted to be a parent. Emptied out 401ks and savings just to do this. But I think the real problem is with this particular clinic, they probably have messy workers. And the reason why it's not going to be easy, because if you mislabeled my egg, God only knows how many other eggs was mislabeled on that day.
I don't know. I'm surprised that this has become so socially acceptable. This is one of the things about society that scares me a little bit because it's just very shocking that people don't really look at this and go, this seems a little off. I don't know if we should be doing this. To be honest, this is not the first time I've heard about something like this happening with these IVF clinics, and this whole artificial pregnancy thing. It's been all kind of issues with that, and it kind of sounds like there's some freezing involved here, even if it's not for a long time. I'm not quite sure how this process works, but I do remember me watching something with this woman was a neuro research scientist, and she says if you think that kids are struggling now, imagine when we have a classroom full of frozen embryos. And that made me go like, yeah, maybe we don't need to be doing this. Like, we don't even know if this person is going to have health problems when they become elderly because of this procedure. We don't know if it's going to be something genetically up. Like, we don't know if this is even your baby. It's probably a whole bunch of people that don't have their own baby.
Not having your own baby, I think, is a high level possibility. But really, to be honest with you, I think the least we got to probably worry about is the frozen embryos being implanted in somebody. When you got Ozempic, Wegovy, these cholesterol meds, these heart medications, all of that is altering the genetics of your body so that it can lower your blood pressure, lower your cholesterol, do whatever. I think we got more things to worry about than a bunch of embryo babies in the classroom. We got a whole slew of problems now, and then it's babies that the people have. We don't legalize the weed, so everybody think it's cool to go ahead and smoke the weed, and they got problems too. I think, to me, when you have somebody that really wants to be a parent and they want to have their own baby, I get it. If in vitro is going to help you perhaps have this child, then I'm going to say go for it. Because the other thing too is when you are adopting, you know, all situations, sometimes it's sad, but some things have even bigger risks. When you are adopting, you don't know what you're getting. It's like roll the dice. I mean, you know, at least when it's your own genetics, you like, okay, but it's like rolling the dice because they're not telling you, oh, this baby came from an addicted mother. Oh, this baby was born in this environment, that environment, whatever. I just, you know, to me, when you are in the medical field, it's a high level responsibility. And I'm sick of these workers that take it as a joke and want to play games. I got my best sleep, like I said, when I did nursing, because I didn't play around with what time I went to bed. I knew I needed my 8 hours plus of sleep. And I was in that bed because I had to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to get to my 7 a.m. shift. And so when you work in a facility like that, listen, I have seen the people in my doctor's office be diligent just when they're taking my blood work. They make sure all them tools are labeled with my name. Then they show me the labels to say, okay, read this. Is that you? Your name spelled correctly? Your date of birth? Like, they're not playing with just my blood work. And when at the end of the day, if there was some error of the wrong blood label wrong, I could come back and get more blood. But when you're talking about you about to implant an egg in my belly, you need to make sure that is mine. This clinic gets an F. I know why they're not talking, because it's a possibility that multiple people that went to that clinic don't have the right baby. And that is horrific. If I heard about this story and I went to that clinic, I would go get my child tested like ASAP. Because just because the child came out the right color, it don't mean that that's your child. And this child obviously belongs to somebody else. So there have been times where they got the mother's egg, but mixed up the sperm that, you know, they put in the egg. But now you're talking about they just put the wrong egg in her altogether because the baby ain't related to daddy or mommy. And that's messed up. And like she said, just like they had somebody else's baby, somebody else can have their baby right now. And how would they ever know? This clinic is a hot, stinking mess. They done fell in love with the baby. And the longer it takes to find the correct parents, and perhaps they find if their baby, and just because let's say they got Diva's baby, that don't mean that I was implanted with their egg. It could be somebody else that was implanted with their eggs. So they can lose their child and still never find their biological child. That clinic gets an F, and it's messed up. I'm going to roll into the next story, the Grope horror. This one right here. Let me just do that. The Grope horror, shocking moment, arrested sex attack suspect brazenly tries to grope female detective while being taken to jail in cuffs. So this is a shocking moment. An arrested sex attack suspect brazenly tries to grope a female detective as he is led away in handcuffs to jail. Video shows Stephen Devon Mason Rivers, 30, being escorted by authorities through a narrow corridor in Miami Dodds Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center. It's about to queue up. It's really quick. I'm going to show it to y'all.
Is on the left side of the screen out of the building. A female detective is on the left side of the screen. She's holding open the door. Police say Rivers, with his hands cuffed behind him, tried to grab the detective's buttock.
Unbelievable. Let me just go down here. I read that part. So they show a little close up. That's his hand with him trying to grab her. And then they snatched him up. He's crazy. So he nonchalantly glances in the direction of the female officer in a brown suit and blazer, and her back turned to him. Although cuffed and without looking at her, Rivers reaches a hand toward her behind. An officer immediately intervenes, grabbing Rivers and pushing him against a railing to stop the attempted grab, the Miami Herald reported. According to the arrest affidavit, Rivers spontaneously chuckled after being restrained and said, "Good catch, but I don't give a F." The incident was captured on camera and occurred as Rivers, sporting a white tracksuit, was being transferred into custody on Wednesday. It came just days after he was accused of R-ing a Florida Memorial University student. Rivers had been arrested earlier that day and turned over to Miami Gardens Police Department. As officers moved him through the facility, he walked past the female detective before allegedly making the brazen attempt to grab her. He was eventually taken to jail and held on a $510,501 bond, Miami-Dade County records show. He's a greater danger to the community and women in Miami-Dade County, given his criminal history. Miami-Dade Circuit Court Judge Mindy Glazer told the court. Following Wednesday's incident, Rivers was charged with attempted battery without serious personal injury, battery on a police officer, and 2 counts of resisting an officer without violence. Those charges are in addition to the allegations stemming from a suspected R on Sunday around 7 a.m. on the Florida Memorial University campus in Miami Gardens. Police allege Rivers hopped the fence to enter the campus before approaching the victim, a student from Colombia attending college in the U.S. on a student visa, as she waited at a bus stop. According to the affidavit, Rivers stared at the student, whistled at her, and continued following her after she ignored him. He then allegedly asked to use her phone. When she refused and tried to walk away, Rivers accused of snatching her phone, throwing her backpack to the ground, pushing her against a wall, and R-ing her. The student called 911 after the alleged assault and underwent an R-kit exam, according to reports. Miami Gardens police were tipped off on Monday about a homeless man hanging around the campus, and when approached by officers, he agreed to an interview. He denied R-ing the student, but a warrant for his DNA elicited a match with the R-kit. He was subsequently detained. Rivers has also previously been convicted of several separate criminal acts, including sudden snatching without a weapon, aggravated stalking with a credible threat, and carrying a concealed firearm. He also has multiple prior offenses of lewd or lascivious exhibition. This man needs to never get out. This is absolutely disgusting. So, I feel like these campuses, though, too, they need to do more with protecting the students. Savannah, your thoughts?
I agree, Diva. That campus is an open campus. Some areas are just protected by wire fencing. I'm not familiar with their security practice or anything, but I am familiar with the school. Some areas of that campus are dark. The metro goes through there, and so does bus service. There is a homeless population issue in and around Miami Gardens, because they're about to have a big festival. Every March they have Jazz in the Gardens, and then the Cayocho Festival, which draws millions of people down to South Florida. Plus, it's the beginning of Lent coming up, and spring breakers, and it just becomes a cesspool of essaying, and girls are not safe. Women are not safe out in this area. I'm so glad that he's off the street, and because this is a criminal, a repeated offender, according to the stories that I also have looked up on him. He has terrorized a area of that town for quite some time. Some others have said that he has exposed himself, and he's has seems to be sick in the head when it comes to anything actual. Um, so I'm so glad, and my heart breaks for the young lady that was armed, and if anyone else was assaulted, I hope that they come forward and also put this monster away. But these campuses have to do better. They're and these classes are late at night sometimes. I could recall going to class myself late at night, where and there's no real security on these grounds to protect these young ladies, whether it's going to their car or going to a bus stop, where these predators are lurking and waiting just for an opportunity. Because most of this, as you know, this generation, their neck is always down in their phone and they're not really paying attention to their surroundings or their environment. So when you get sick people like this, they know when to attack and when the victims are most vulnerable. So I hope he goes away for a long time. I'm glad that the other detectives were there to protect that one female detective because he doesn't care. He said it himself. He don't care. And I just hope that there's a justice system that don't let him back out in the streets.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Julius.
That female detective could have been his next victim if it wasn't for the quick thinking of the males who had him hemmed up.
Mm-hmm.
Quick thinking. And I hope he gets put underneath the jail. I don't even want him getting 3 meals a day. He
Mm.
needs to get put underneath the jail. His nasty behind.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Callie. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Just throw him in jail. It's hard for me to believe that people like him never come to a point where they go, this behavior doesn't seem to be normal. Maybe I should get some help. I think you know what I mean. Is I don't doubt that he has some type of mental issue,
Right.
but is there never a point where you have no awareness that this ain't normal? Maybe I need to go talk to somebody. So at this point, once you start hurting other people, there's nothing we can do but lock you up.
Mm.
So I'm glad he's off the streets. Uh, he was trying to assault somebody, I guess, one last time. Sorry, SA.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's really all I have to say. Hopefully, they don't let him right back out. I'm hoping that he gets some big time and that he doesn't just get like 3 to 5 years and then he's out doing something worse.
No, I agree. I think that the fortunate thing is, thank God he didn't get to touch the officer, but thank God he probably tried because I think because the result of that, they really not going to play with him, and that's why that bond was at $500,000. I think he's a done deal. So you don't give a F, so good. You're gonna be in jail, not giving the F. Period. Let me roll into the last story with Don Lemon. So Don Lemon was arrested for doing his journalism thing at a church. I want to say it was in Minnesota or Minneapolis. Which one? I'm forgetting right now. But he got arrested, and he said he's not playing. He's going to continue to fight for his rights. Let me just let's first go here. Thank you, Special K, for becoming a member. Much appreciated.
Thing that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
How was my timing on that? Hi, Pete. I'm sorry? This new vertical thing, is that going to affect you guys at all?
Not a fucking clue.
Okay. Anyway, great seeing you. I was not time to talk. Hey.
So let's just, I'm going to share screen one more time. So Don Lemon, I spend my life covering news. I will not stop now. Let's just take a quick listen.
So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means.
That one I showed, I'm sorry. Don Lemon has been released from custody after being criminally charged for covering a church protest in Minneapolis. And he made it clear this will not silence him. Lemon told the crowd he has been a reporter for 30 years and he will not stop doing what he has always done, covering the news. As we reported, Lemon was arrested Thursday night at his home in Los Angeles for allegedly conspiring with protesters to disrupt a church service in Minneapolis. Let's take a listen. Harvey sounded off Thursday morning. Lemon was not conspiring. He was reporting, and his arrest was a square violation of the First Amendment's guarantee of freedom of speech. So many people are siding with Donald.
So the Trump administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon, who covered a protest in Minneapolis, is just insane, ridiculous, dictator-like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies and take the will of the people away. It is as simple as that. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment when you have to start balancing what's more important. The framers of the Constitution knew that a free press was essential to a democracy. Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. And it's real clear that Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press. The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say, somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do. I covered riots. I was a local reporter in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I covered riots and floods and earthquakes and all sorts of things where I had to step into areas where there were police, where there was activity, private property. When you're covering an event like this, like a protest, which I've covered many, you step into it. And that's what journalists do. And that's what Don Lemon did. The idea that the Justice Department is saying he walked onto private property, that is insane. A church invites everybody in. Have you ever seen a church with a no trespassing sign saying no journalists allowed? Have you ever seen any house of worship that says that? It is insane that they're making this stupid argument transparent. And yet a grand jury indicted Don Lemon after a magistrate said there's insufficient evidence. Well, a grand jury will indict anybody because Don Lemon doesn't appear before the grand jury. Abby Lowell, his lawyer, doesn't appear before the grand jury. The Justice Department says what the Justice Department wants the grand jury to believe, and almost every time they believe it. It's all the way it's skewed. This is a ridiculous assault. And I don't want to say just on the First Amendment. It's a ridiculous assault on democracy. Trump administration should be ashamed of itself, but they're not. And they will continue to do this. And they are going after journalists. They're getting search warrants for their homes. It is obvious what's happening in this country, people. Look at what is happening. You're going to look back in 2 years if somebody doesn't stand up to them, and I know people are now, but you're going to look back in 2 years and say, wow, we didn't see that coming. Well, Neville Chamberlain should have saw it coming, and he didn't. And we don't want to be in that position. So wise up, everybody, because it's obvious what's happening here. This is an outrage.
Made some very good points about being in the church. There's never a church where you said it's not a sign of saying no trespassing. Lemon was released without bail. He said he looks forward to vindication at trial. Prior to addressing the media, Lemon appeared in court where a judge decided he could go without having to post bail while his federal case plays out. Lemon wore a crisp all-white suit, waving and smiling at supporters and winking at his husband at one point. He has many people standing by his side. He has been ordered to appear in court in Minnesota on Monday, February the 9th, and his lawyer said he's committed to fight this case and he's not going anywhere. Let's take a listen.
I am not a lawyer, but I will tell you to listen to this court proceedings that made no sense at all. What they described as his crime, from my perspective, a layperson's perspective, was the work of a reporter. He went into the church along with the protesters. He covered the story. He listened to what the people said who were in the church. That is his crime. It made no sense to me. And frankly, if I were the administration, if I were the other side, I would be embarrassed by that court proceeding that actually wanted to limit his movements so he could not go anywhere except for Minnesota to New York. A journalist who travels the country. So we have seen protesters under attack. We have seen people being snatched off our street. And now all of you are at risk. And this is just unacceptable. This assault on our democracy has got to end. And you, all journalists, play such a critical role. And I just want you to know, and I think I could speak on behalf of this crowd, we are all going to fight every day for your ability to tell the truth, for your ability to cover this story and any other story. We have to draw the line in the sand and say we will not allow for the dismantling of our democracy. Thank you very much.
Super sad. However, the judge has given Lemon permission to travel, allowing him to go to France over the summer on a boating trip with friends. So as long as the trip doesn't conflict with the court schedule. Obviously, he must abide by the general conditions of probation. As we reported, Lemon was charged with violating a federal law by interfering with worship during a January anti-ICE protest at City's Church in Minneapolis on January the 18th. In a statement on Friday, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said, at my direction early this morning, federal agents arrested Lemon in connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Lemon has been charged with 1 count of conspiracy against the right of religious freedom at a place of worship and 1 count of injuring, intimidating, and interfering with the exercise of the right of religious freedom at a place of worship. His attorney, Abel Lowe, sounded off Friday morning, saying Don was there as a journalist protected by the First Amendment, and at his arrest was a distraction from the Trump admin investigating the unaliveness of Renee Good and Alex Petty at the hands of federal immigration enforcement agents in Minneapolis. As we told you, the feds originally tried to charge 8 people tied to the City's Church protest, Don included, but a magistrate judge only signed off on charges for 3, and Lemon wasn't one of them. Don was in LA to cover the Grammys weekend when all this went down. We caught up with him outside after his release. He gave a thumbs up when asked if he would still be going to the Grammys. Let's just take a look at this really quickly.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Our home. For those who demand communication.
Hey, how was jail? Just tell me how jail was. Was it all right? You make any friends?
Indictment says you acknowledge children were afraid. Don, are you going to the Grammys? Are you going to the Grammys? Don, are you still going to cover the Grammys? Are you going to the Grammys?
Good question. Yes, sir.
Don, indictment says that you protected the element of surprise. Just the organizer on camera. You consider yourself a participant or a journalist?
Were you participating by saying don't share your location?
John, were you a participant or a journalist? The indictment says that you knew what was going down. You protected the element of surprise. You kissed the organizer on camera. Do you think you should have walked out of the church once children were afraid and parents couldn't get to their children?
Did you participate in any way, Don?
John, once children were afraid.
I mean, where was his car? Savannah, your thoughts?
This is clearly a personal agenda of one person who has been Don Lemon's leading story for at least ever since their first term. Don is absolutely no fan of 47 and criticizes him every chance he gets. I saw the video when Lemon went into the church, and he clearly stated that he was there in the capacity of reporting, and he also spoke with the parishioners in that church, and everyone was respectful, the protesters as well as the people in the church. The charges that they're putting on Don are complete bogus, and they're stretching the narrative to try to fit their agenda of I don't know what, because he is protected as a real true journalist, not some podcaster, not a Fox News a sensationalist like Tucker Carlson or the others over there. He is an actual true journalist, and he is protected under the First Amendment. So him being charged with violation and the FACE Act, which is the freedom of access to clinic entrances and impeding on parishioners practicing in service. I can recall June 17th, 2015, when a 21-year-old named Dylan Roof sat in a Charleston, South Carolina church where he was welcomed, greeted, and he sat in that church for an hour. And we all know what happened, and where he unalived 9 parishioners and impeded them from their service. He was, and that happened in 2015. So Trump was not he was running for president. He was not elected as of yet. But when he was elected, they refused to label him as a terrorist. They refused to, although he was eventually convicted of hate crimes, the legal, and I can't recall it was his lawyers, or they were fighting for him to just be charged with aggravated illegal firearms, all the lesser ones, and not anything heavy and federal. And he was not charged with the FACE Act, where Don Lemon is being charged. So miss me with the BS on this administration. It is the hypocrisy and the stretching of the actual truth that we see with our own eyes, that they want us to say, don't look over here, look over there, type of mess. And all they've done is given Don Lemon at least 2 to 3 months of content to headline his daily shows, and eventually he's going to win because he is protected under the First Amendment. We still have a constitution in this country, and this was just something that 47 likes to do, is tie you up in court and have you waste your money defending yourself. And this is his tactic, and he's got the people in place to do it.
Yeah, very sad. Julius, your thoughts?
Okay, so they want to say, they want to charge Darm with the Ku Klux Klan Act, but that isn't applied to him given how the act was came into play. I found that out earlier. Also, nobody in the church was hurt. And even when the pastor went to shove Don was like, don't push me, I'm just asking you a question. And he's like, well, you need to leave. And Don was like, okay. So again, the pastor was being aggressive because he didn't like the questioning. It wasn't because the service was interrupted. And I just feel like this whole thing with Minnesota is a distraction from a certain file, but that's neither here or there. But I feel like, when is the current occupant in the White House going to be held to the same standard? Should uphold the Constitution. And then in the First Amendment, freedom of the press.
Callie, your thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to just briefly speak on this because this is not my platform. And I want people to know that these are my opinions, not Diva's opinions. So if you want to come at somebody, come at me. I actually do believe that Don was involved in the planning of this protest, because I've been seeing the way that Don has been moving. And I also have been seeing, it's not just him. There's a machine that's going on that is being used to essentially convince Americans that we should not have immigration laws. And for me, being a Black woman in the Black community of Los Angeles, where I kind of feel like was the testing ground for a societal experiment that essentially was like, okay, let's figure out some way to get rid of these Black people and get some new people here, because these Black people want to get paid and they want their American dream, and we're just not going to give them that. So I have seen the long-term effects of what millions and millions of people illegally coming into a state does economically to the working class people that are already here. And it's not good. And I think a lot of people feel, I don't live in California, this isn't my problem. That's those people out there in Hollywood. But what they don't understand is when it's millions of people, and those people also are going to have children that are going to grow up and need jobs and want to buy homes and all of these things, and our economy is not pacing fast enough to have millions of extra people here. That's why we have immigration quotas in the first place. This is not a developing country anymore. This country is built. If anything, we're about to purge a lot of jobs due to AI, probably millions. So my thing is this. I see the way that Don is moving. I think that there is an agenda with certain people in the media, and there's also bots behind it to essentially convince the majority of Americans, which are working class people, we have the vote, not the wealthy, because the wealthy want more people here because they can pay less and they can charge more for real estate. So I believe they're the ones orchestrating this whole thing to convince you that we should not have immigration laws in this country. We never had open borders. Me knowing people personally who are related to people or have worked with people that have been here illegally, they understand that they can be deported and that it can happen any day. They already knew that this could happen. They've known this the entire time they've been here. But what has now happened is the media is kind of creating this narrative that this is some new thing that's been invented and the country's going to hell and all. No, you never could be in this country illegally. And I actually have known people that have had to leave the country because they couldn't get papers. And they didn't want to get detained. And this was before 47 was even in office. And I've known people from many parts of the world that's just like, I wish I could stay here. You know, I love working with you guys, but, you know, I can't get a sponsor. I can't stay here. So this is not some new thing that 47 has just come up with. The problem is, over the past like 30 years or so, we've had administrations that purposely just let millions of people come in illegally because they wanted what they felt was lower paid workers. The problem is those people don't remain lower paid workers, and they also lower the pay of jobs that used to be good paying union jobs that a lot of working class people had. And also their children grow up and they go into corporate America where there's not enough jobs. You really have to, I feel, be maybe from California, maybe Texas, to really understand what this does economically to working class people that are already here. And a lot of people can't even afford to live in this state anymore. People that have been here since the early 1900s. So I don't trust Don. I think Don was involved in the orchestrating of I think they put this whole thing together and he was going to cover it and put it on YouTube. And I don't think that he just heard about this protest and just decided to just go down and cover it. And I do think it's disrespectful for him to go into that church unless he was asked to come in by the pastor or the members. That's a little bit different. But I think he should have stood outside, you know, if he wanted to report. I do think that was disrespectful. And I honestly, even though I can't stand this woman, I do kind of agree. If this was a different type of place of worship for a different religion, he probably would have been arrested that day. So all of this, like I said, I'm kind of trying to tune it out because I see the play that's being made, and I just want to say I'm very happy I don't have kids, because if I had kids, I would be worried sick, because I would know that they're probably not going to be able to find a decent paying job. They're probably not going to be able to own a home, and any hope we have of preserving that, they are hijacking that right now, and they're making you feel like you're doing the right thing. Everybody else is the victim, when actually these are people that already knew that they weren't supposed to be here. Like, they know that they know this. This is not like some shocking thing. Yeah, I don't know where this is going to fall out, but I'm going to be honest. I just do not believe Don. I don't think he didn't have anything to do with the planning of this protest. I don't believe him. I don't think he was just there covering it.
Well, here's the thing, right? I'm hearing what you're saying, but let's just say this. Let's say he was part of the planning. I still don't see what this man got arrested for. Right? So
I think it has something to do with him going into that church. I have to read what the law is, because I don't fully understand either. But I think that's where he crossed the line.
Right? But Harvey said There's no church on the face of this earth that has a no trespassing sign, because all churches, they say all is welcome.
Well, I think what they're trying to argue is that he was interfering with their right to worship.
But when he was asked to leave, he left.
Well, I'm not saying the charges are going to stick. I just think that that's the argument here. Now, I need to read a little bit more because maybe there is something illegal he did with these protesters. Because some of these protesters are not as peaceful as people think they are. I have seen some stuff going on out there. So I honestly don't know.
Savannah, did you want to say something else?
I just wanted to reiterate that he interviewed both sides, and the protesters that went in were to, I wouldn't say confront, but bring to light that the one of the leaders of that church was involved with is also an ICE agent that is bringing the turmoil to that city. So this isn't. This isn't about and Don being a reporter is covered under the First Amendment right, and the FACE Act is simply when you're impeding someone from practicing religion. And not one of those, even the protesters, everyone was respectful. Just as Dylan Roof sat quietly for an hour in that church observing, he wasn't obstructing them from having service until he brought out the object, but that's why they twisted it with him saying he didn't violate the FACE Act because he sat still and allowed them to practice, whereas Don was in the capacity of a reporter. So it's BS. I call BS on it. This is a personal agenda of one person.
Ooh, Katrina, you in the building? Did you want to say anything?
Yes, Diva. Hey, Pam. Hey, Diva. How y'all doing tonight? The thing of it is with Don Lemon and the people in the church. Okay, he walked in with the protesters. He was asking questions and he was videotaping. So therefore, he was doing what a journalist do. So you arrested me because I came in and I disrupted church services, as y'all use it as the KKK law. But then we see a man pout down on national TV and he walks away. He's not arrested. He's not this, he's not that. But y'all following this man to California to arrest him of some trumped up charges that y'all just putting into place because it's ridiculous. I can see if he was in there with a marching and, with pumping his fist saying, we doing it, we doing that. That's not what he did. And anybody looking at that video would see that's not what he did. These are trumped up charges that Miss Oniga Rega, whatever her name is, went and talked to Trump, and they put this stuff into place because she was mad with Don Lemon for saying that her husband need to be worried about Chris Hansen. And Trump, he was trying to do anything so it would not conflict on the people talking about the Epstein's files, because this is totally ridiculous. Because now you still got people talking about the Epstein file, but what they're talking about now, they're talking about Don Lemon. And the thing of it is, the man that do nothing wrong, the woman that do nothing wrong, he was being a journalist and saying that we got freedom of speech. Our speech is not free. We had to fight for it. It's the same way when people is on the YouTube street, they can't say certain words or they will be dinged or they won't be paid. This is ridiculous. The man should have never been arrested. I just find it just crazy that y'all using the FBI to come get somebody because you saying that he obstructed church services. That's bullcrap and just stupid and ridiculous on so many dang levels. I'm sorry, Diva, but that's how I feel. This is crazy. That man should never even been in no done custody. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I agree. We got this. What's her name? Celeste Rivers was found in the trunk of a car that they know who the car belonged to. and that owner of said car is still in the streets. You got to make this make sense. A dead body in the car, and that person is still walking the streets. A man went into a church with a microphone, no pow-pow, and a camera, and with some other people, and they're asking some questions, and you said, like you said, the whole FBI in the middle of the night to pick him up. It just don't make sense. You got the young mother who was pow-powed in front of her son's school or near her son's school, and the father who was at the scene, where some people said he was holding her, and the other chick pows her down, he's still walking the streets. I could name so many cases that are real serious, where a life is gone, and the people still walking the street because they talking about we still trying to figure out some things and have some evidence. But a man with no violence whatsoever happened at that day. And it deserves the FBI.
And don't forget, Diva, the little 5-year-old that they arrested, that tricked him to get his family out the house. He's in this jail, sick, is not doing very well. And y'all focusing on y'all focusing on Don Lemon because he went into a church. But you got this child on the street. You see this on camera. This child is a 5-year-old, is locked up because of immigration. And the baby is sick. They say he having fevers off and on. They even, I think, they won't even give him his hat and his book bag back. And this is what y'all focusing on: somebody doing an interview for the reason why they're doing an interview, because if y'all out here doing some outrageous mess in the streets, this is totally stupid. It don't make no sense. And like I said, that man should have never been locked up. They should have kept that baby locked up. This is sick on so many levels. So many levels.
Yeah, I'm just saying to myself, and here's the thing. The whole thing about freedom of speech is that, you know, we're not all going to agree, but you got the right to your opinion. I got the right to mine. And as long as everybody's just using their words, not using their hands, not using any weapons, like, what gives? But I'm going to go back to this. I know so many people want to blame it on who's in office, but I'm going to blame it on the rules on how and who can run for office. When you got zero standards, what do you expect? If I go right now to ask, you know, can I work at a Target, McDonald's, a corporate America, the bank, and the bank, the financial institutions they're some of the toughest because they want to know about your credit history and all of that. They doing all kind of checks on you before you could get the job. But I could roll out my bed tomorrow, and if I got enough money to campaign, I could run for the most important job in this world, to be the president of the United States. It don't make no sense. They will tell maybe a CNA, a nurse, or whoever work in the hospital, they want to constantly ask you, well, when you about to retire? You in your 70s, why are you still working? This, that, and that. But you could be 99 running the world, and they will prop you up in the chair and get you an auto pen to sign off on things. So everybody is saying vote. It's not about voting. It comes way before voting. It comes with changing the rules on who can run in the first place. Shouldn't you have some credentials? Shouldn't you maybe have went to some higher level of education and institution? Shouldn't you be able to prove that you know how to run budgets? Shouldn't you be able to prove that you know how to work in a crisis? Shouldn't you have something on the resume that shows how you turn things around? But nah, you can literally roll out your bed and decide you want to be the president. So everybody, I don't like to do politics because it gets sticky. But I always tell people I don't talk politics on my show, but I do know politics. I just don't like to talk it because it gets a little, tense. But, and I tell people, and I'm a voter, 100%. But when I tell people when I'm offline and I say the problem is not about the vote, it's the problem about who the candidates you have that you got to vote for in the first place and all the rules behind everything. You got to make it make sense. In the real world, they kick you out of a job when they think you're too old and you've been there too long. But you could be the president. Like I said, you could be 150. Can't see, can't walk, can't talk, and you can still be the president of the United States. It just don't make no sense. But people are shocked, and I'm not. A lot of my friends, they ask me, and they're up in the uproar. And listen, everybody gets to believe what they want, so I'm not here to convert anybody, whatever. But I believe in a higher power. That's why I don't let it shake me. I believe in God. I got ancestors that I never even met that survived more than this. If I got ancestors that was able to pick cotton, was shackled, went through everything they went through, surely I can get through this. In my mind, this too shall pass. But does that mean we just sit back and ignore? No. But you got to first have a clear mind on how do we come together and beat them at their own game. I was telling somebody earlier that I don't particularly care for Nicki Minaj like that, but she know how to play the game. She playing chess right now. But that would have to be a whole nother live and a whole nother story for another day. She playing chess. So we have got to learn how to play this game in a way where we come out on top. We're not getting arrested. We're not spending our money in litigation. We got to know you got to be smarter now. People are still using the same techniques from back in the day when we supposed to be smarter with this chat GT and all of this technology. But then when we go to resolve an issue, we revert back to the old way. We got to do better. We got to do better. When you want to keep repeating what other people have done and think you're going to get a different result, it's called insanity. You see what is happening to the people that buck up against him in a certain way, and you want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and you think you're going to get a different result. I'm about to close out. And Too Good to Leave You Now. I know I hear you. A lot of people say that. She burning her core audience. She don't care. Why? Because she's about to fast track her citizenship. See, that's the thing we don't understand. We mad about popularity, this, that, and the other. She got a whole lot of mess to say within her own life, and she's choosing herself. So right now, she with a man that everywhere they go, he got to register as an offender. But if at the end of the day, she keep playing chess with the master, she all of that's gonna go away. You think she care about y'all? She was never posting nothing and making money off of her social media anyway. Respectfully, when was the last time she made an album that was out there that the people purchased at a high level that was making her money? She got with this guy. She saved her house. She's trying to, in my opinion, she's trying to save the brother, save her husband, and save herself. So that's why she said, I don't give a crap about what y'all think. I told people this, and I'm going to go. See, that's why I like to do politics, because y'all going to get me talking. Y'all tell me, how do you save somebody that's in a house and you standing outside the door? You can't. You got to get in to know what they talking about so that you will have the intel to save everybody. But the minute somebody goes to get in, y'all call them all kinds of names. We could talk about this, but I would have to get it, you know, because I'm almost 2 hours in. I ain't been this long in a long time. But we got a lot of things to fix. To me, we can start at the credentials of who is allowed to go in that office. How are the credentials higher for a Starbucks than it is to be the president of the United States? It don't make no sense, people. I have been to jobs, and y'all know how old I am. I'll be 56 this year. I've been to jobs, they talk about, can we get your high school diploma? Are you kidding me? That diploma is in the archives. But besides that, I got 13 degrees after that, and they still want to back it up to my high school diploma. I'm telling you, I can't do this, y'all. I got to go. Listen, y'all know the routine. Hit the like button. If you didn't hit it on the way in, hit the like button on the way out. Maybe tomorrow night we'll do a part 2 about this. We'll do a part 2 because I think as a group, as a people, there's some serious guardrails that we need to put in place in order for change to happen. I think the first guardrail would be you move the credentials of being the president of the United States. You should have to have some type of degree, and that should be a bare minimum. I gotta go. Thank y'all for being here, y'all. Good night and goodbye, everybody.
And the cutoff age should be 65. Choo, choo, choo.
No, we need a cutoff age for sure.